Hey there, everybody. Welcome. This is Kenny, and this is yet another edition of the Yak with MAC Leaders. This is the place. This is the place to come to get inspired, to get encouraged, to be better leaders and even greater influencers around the people that you touch every single day. We're also part of the Learning Podcast team, and it has just been an honor and a pleasure for me to be able to do this, and we'll continue. We've got some great things lined up over the next several weeks. We're not going to really pause for the holidays. We hope you're getting a chance to watch these and sit down and really take your time and develop yourself. That'll be my first reminder today, and that's 10 minutes or so a day to develop yourself, maybe even 15 minutes. And so I want to share with someone on my team. His name is Scotty. He's a great virtual trainer. And so the world of a virtual trainer is they're up early every morning. They have to prepare their class. They're online in class, usually about 7-8 hours every day. Afterwards, there's other things they have to do to wrap up, set up certifications, things like that. Really, really a lot for them to do. And Scotty is in the middle of reading just this terrific book that I didn't tell him to do. He's just taking kind of his own advice to develop himself. And I love that. And we talked about that today on our sync. You should be doing syncs all the time, leaders, every single month. More than that if necessary. But for him to take the time to develop himself, that just shows me that all of us should be doing that. And it's a great point of discussion. He's getting a lot out of the book that he's reading that's going to help him not only become a better trainer, but a better leader. So that's the key. You want to develop yourself so that you are excelling in your current position. So you want to look at things that's going to help you get better in your current position. But then you also want to look towards the future, right? 2021 and beyond. What's your next steps? What are some things that you are watching or listening to and reading that is going to get you ready for that next level, that next step in your career? So I'll talk a lot more about Leader Ready over the next couple of weeks as we get ready to go into the next year on that. I'm going to have a special guest in the next week or so that's going to talk a lot about Leader Ready. But how about we do another edition of Retire the Cliche? This is low-hanging fruit. I think I heard that maybe about 10, 15 years ago. I was like, what? Is low-hanging fruit? What does that actually mean? And so is there anything wrong with it? No. I know a lot of leaders that say that. And what they mean by that is that, hey, I've got this whole big project, but there's a couple of things, one or two things that I can take care of very, very quickly and very easily. So my challenge to you is to just say that. Just say that. You don't have to say, hey, we've got some low-hanging fruit here that we can take care of. Because there's a lot of people now that are coming up that are into leadership that are 21, 22, 23. They have no idea what you're talking about if you say, hey, we've got some low-hanging fruit. And here's the thing. With cliches and with sayings, you don't want to have to explain them. So when you have to go now and start to explain what you mean, it's probably time to retire. So not a bad expression. I know what it means. Some people know what it means. There's a lot of folks that have no idea what that means these days. So just say, hey, there are some things we can do to turn this around really quickly. A couple of things that we can do like today or tomorrow. And then there's a few other things that's going to take us a while. That's going to be, a little bit longer down the road project. Instead of just saying there is some low hanging fruit. No one really knows what that means. Okay. I want to get into a topic today that is inspired. I saw an article over the weekend from the Harvard Business Review. So I'm giving them full love, full credit, full props, and putting some things in my own words. But the article really, really prompted me to want to talk about this because this is something that, as a leader, if you haven't gone through this yet, you will. Most leaders have gone through this already. And that is, do you have somebody on your team currently that's an underperformer that thinks they're doing a great job. So someone that has a much higher perception of themselves than you have. And the numbers bear that out, that they're just not doing that well, yet they think that they're doing well. So I call this the American Idol effect. That's my words, not the articles. And I'll tell you why. I felt this way for a long time. I was watching American Idol. So American Idol is actually still on. Don't be hating me. It's still on. I haven't watched it, though, in years. I hate to admit. But American Idol in my household back in the early thousands was must-see TV. That was something that the family was able to sit around and watch. My kids used to dial up and vote for folks. American Idol was a very unique show in its time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. What I used to enjoy, though, the most was the beginning episodes. So those of you who've watched it will know what I'm talking about. But the auditions, where thousands of people would come and audition, and Paula, Randy, Simon, they would just sit there and go through. And Simon was pretty mean. He would say, "Yeah, you stink, get out." Paula would be nice. "Oh, you're not that great, but it's okay." And so they would come with their families and everything. And here's where I'm going with this. Their families would send them in, and they would tell them like beforehand what a great singer they are. And when they would go inside, it was apparent that their family wasn't telling them the full truth. They couldn't sing. They were terrible. And I'm like, so I would never audition for American Idol because I can't sing. I'm a horrible singer. If someone told me back in the day, though, that I was really good, like my parents or some good friends, "Hey, you really could sing. You could sing," I would have probably believed that. And I would have probably went in with, thinking that I could sing, because some of those folks, it's not staged. You could see they're shocked when Simon would tell them, "No, man, that you can't sing. No, this ain't your thing." I mean, it would be absolutely awful. And my heart would then break for them, because they'd go out and their parents would say, "What do they know?" Well, these are folks that are veterans in the industry. They knew. We sitting at home watching this on television, we knew also. But the person had a inflated reason that they felt like, hey, they could sing. And so there could be a lot of other deep-seated reasons there why someone has a much higher opinion of themselves. And don't get me wrong, don't hear what I'm not saying. You should have confidence in yourself. You should have a high opinion of yourself. You also have to be realistic. You can get better at some things. Singing is one of those things that if you don't have that voice, or if you're on the edge, you could probably take lessons and get better. But like for me, the talent ain't, I could take all the lessons in the world, man. I'm never going to be able to sing. I'm totally good with that. It's fine. I could do other things. And so here's though my whole point. If you run across, and I'm sure you have, if you have someone that is a little bit, I hate to use this word, but a little bit delusional on that, or they have a lack of self-awareness, don't spend the time trying to figure out why. Because there could be a lot of deep-seated reasons that you as a leader don't need to get into. All you know is that they're not hitting expectations, right? So you have to stick with that. So let me give you 5 pieces of advice on how do you deal with folks that are underperforming, that don't realize that they're actually underperforming and that think that they're doing well. So the first thing is you got to be clear about expectations. I mean, you have to lay them out from A to Z. You have to be more clearer than you probably need to be with the rest of your team. And I mean what exactly you expect from them from A to Z, because this person that is the underperformer that feels they're the overperformer, you're going to pick that up right away. Within the first 30 days, you're going to know that. You're probably not going to know it during the interview, because that comes off as brashness and confidence that you probably want in your store, and that's okay. So number 1, be clear about expectations. Number 2, provide as many resources and support as possible. So that person that is struggling, that doesn't realize it, point them to as many training videos. There's a lot of them out there. Point them to as many people in your store that are doing extremely well. Support them like crazy. You want to definitely be very, very supportive. Hey, I think you can get this. You're not getting it today, but you can get this. So resources and support is going to be very, very important for the person that is underperforming but thinks they're overperforming. Okay, this one is tough for me because I totally believe in not giving up on people. That's just been ingrained in me for a long time because I've seen too many times where people have turned it around. But you have to make a decision, and this can be one of the tougher ones that you make as a leader. Are you going to continue to invest in this person? Because again, maybe that is so deep-seated that there's nothing that you're going to be able to say or do that this person's going to realize that they're actually underperforming. American Idol, we used to see it. People would come back the next year and try out again, and there would be no improvement. They would sound actually worse than they did the year before. And Simon would be really mean on that. He would say, hey, why'd you even bother coming back? So you don't want to be mean with people, but you have to ask yourself that question. Do you want to continue to invest in this person? Are they ever going to get it? You have to start to see some signs, month in and month out, improvement, month in and month out. You have to, this is number 4, you have to really assess the situation, and this ties in with number 3, see whether they're willing to accept help. So all those tools and resources that you provide, are they using it? Are they watching it? Are they picking other great reps, brains to find out what is it that they're doing to help close those sales? If they're not doing that, that will tell you that they really don't need the help. You can provide all the resources that you want. If they're not using it, then they don't need the help. Again, ingrained in them is that they're good and they're doing well. Despite that they only have 2 activations this month, I'm still doing well because those 2 activations were really hard to get and I did a great job at it. That could be the case, but you're supposed to have 30. I'm just making numbers up, obviously. So you have to really assess to see if they are going to accept the help. Number 5, this one is very difficult for me because I praise all the time. That's just my nature, how I am. But with a person that is underperforming, and I learned a hard lesson on this, I remember, with a couple of people. The person that is underperforming but thinks they're an overperformer, you have to target your praise carefully. So you have to target your praise and limit it to when there's real improvement. So a lot of times we'll have a lot of praise when there are baby steps. There has to be big steps with the person that is underperforming, that thinks they're overperforming. You told me I was doing good. That person will bring it right back up to you really, really quickly. Again, that was one that was a hard lesson for me. Even at the store manager level, I'm talking about me as a DM and me talking to some of my store managers and not praising them on purpose. That's very, very difficult because I mostly wanted to do that all the time. So this one is a tough one, guys, but I guarantee you're going to go through it. I'll put the music on for my podcast here. I guarantee you're going to go through it. The person that really feels that they're overperforming, but in reality, they're not. They're underperforming. So you got to be clear about expectations. Don't waste time, because it will be a waste of time trying to figure out why they're like that. There could be a lot of reasons. Just watch some of the old episodes of American Idol and you'll see what I'm talking about. Be clear about expectations. Provide support and resources. Decide whether you are going to continue to invest in this person. Assess whether they actually are accepting the help that you're providing, and target praise carefully. That one is even difficult for me to say because I'm all about inspiring and encouraging, right, leaders? You should be about that too, but identify those underperformers that think they're overperforming. Very, very difficult. All right, back next week with more great stuff. But for now, this is Kenny with the Yak with Mac. We'll talk to you real soon.